automatic EAD extensions? And what's new with H-1B? These two questions are in the minds of everyone right now. People are confused, scared, and most importantly, are in a very restless situation because of the new update that has been announced from US government that October 30th, 2025, there will be end of automatic EAD extensions. But you know what, friends? Even in this tough time, there's still a good news. And that is our podcast. We are having these extremely amazing and very insightful podcasts for you so that you get a chance with our attorneys to get in direct contact with them and also to answer or to ask any question that is giving some problem to you in your immigration journey. But before diving into our topic and also inviting a very special guest, let me read out this very important disclaimer for you all. By watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not a legal advice. Use of information at your own risk. All right, friends, with that, welcome back everybody to Immigration Talk Show, and this is your host, Sam. And today we are going to join by none other than attorney Ruby L. Pars. And let me read out something for her side, and that is she has years of experience in the field of immigration, and she is also a board certified immigration attorney and the founder of Pars Law Group in Houston. With nearly 2 decades of experience, is not only a skilled legal expert, but also a passionate advocate for immigrants and their families. And with that, also, friends, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. We are live on YouTube, available on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and also on Instagram as well. So I think without any further ado, let me welcome our today's very special guest, none other than attorney Ruby L. Pars. So hi, Ruby. Welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. So happy to have you here. And how are you doing today?
Regular. I appreciate it. I just came back from a legal tech fund conference in Austin, so my brain is swimming about a lot of innovation, legal tech, and just sort of that space. But it makes me think about how we need to continue to attract the brightest and the hardworking and that innovation here in the United States. Unfortunately, some of the things I'm going to say today might not that sound a little counterintuitive to what that goal is, but many of the people I spoke with this last week were themselves immigrants. And so I know how much immigrants make a big impact on the United States economy and culture. So we've got about 2 big things. One, I was last year talking about what's going on with H-1B. After that, I would just say almost a case study of what not to do. The the government has more or less backtracked, walked back almost majority of that debacle. First, or was announced that September 20th, have almost walked it back almost entirely. But again, what we do know at this moment could also change between now and next year when it really matters. And so that's what's unfortunate. But what it seems to be is that this H-1B $100,000 rule fee is not going to apply to many. I think it might just be to those who've never had it and are applying through consular processing. But again, a lot of these little details will continue to come out as we progress. Also see some notes about the Republicans wanting to propose a bill that would eliminate the H-1B program altogether. But again, I think people can propose bills, but it takes a lot to become a law. So anyway, I guess that could be almost a good news in a way, that like all of that restrictionist and the tough part, the teeth is sounding of that September announcement of H-1Bs for the coming year has more or less been backtracked. So, but then the other piece of news, which is predominantly what we were going to talk about today, was just that all of a sudden, out of the blue, one day we get a notice from USCIS saying that they're going to get rid of the automatic work authorization extensions for everything that was filed the very next day. So we literally had about 24 hours notice about this. This has huge repercussions because there's many visas, work authorizations pending. So let me go back. So it was around 2022 when they introduced the 540-day auto extension, and the gist of it was for the work authorization. What it meant was, as long as you filed your work, if you were one of the categories that had the auto extension, and you filed that work authorization extension before the expiration of your work authorization card, so timely filed, then you would automatically have the 540-day cushion, which was super helpful because USCIS was taking a while on their adjudications. In fact, we have some numbers about, let's see, that right now USCIS processed 3.5 million work authorizations in 2023, which was a 50% increase from the prior year. And so there's a huge large pipeline, but if we don't have this auto extension, it could cause a widespread disruption. And the categories losing the most of the protection are the humanitarian parolees, which many of those programs are being discontinued, the TPS holders, which many of those programs are going to be discontinued, and then asylum applicants as well. But the biggest, this affects a lot of people. Employers are also going to be inconvenienced. And so what does this really mean? That means that, let's say your work authorization is going to expire in about 6 months, and that's when you can do your renewal. Well, if the work authorization process, the application to renew it, takes more than 6 months, then technically you're supposed to stop working the moment that your work authorization expires, because now you won't have that auto extension. That means that you would have to stop working. Your employer would either try to put you on leave potentially, or just have to you be unemployed by that company anymore. And so this is going to cause a lot of issues. Now, I think we're going to start seeing this become an issue in about maybe like 6 months or so, when we start seeing how many of the applications that were filed after this notice was given are still pending beyond 6 months. So it's pretty much a ticking time dilemma for about 6 months from now, when we start seeing how many applications are not adjudicated. Now, on a really interesting perspective, there's so many forms of relief no longer available that there might be less people applying for work authorization. Um, fortunately, more on the unfortunately. So there might be a lot less demand, but at this moment, it's created this big sort of like what's a bottleneck situation, where in about 6 months, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have to get off the payrolls because they don't have that auto extension. So anyway, that's more or less the update about what's going on. And so that's, I think, a conversation to potentially have with your employer about what you're going to do if your work authorization is still pending, and what are you going to do during that time. But I know that you had a lot of questions, and so we can go ahead and go to the questions.
Absolutely. I'll say thank you so much, Ruby, for giving us, every detail of the topic, and I'm sure our viewers are understanding how they're going to, look for it, and especially the clarity is very important. So thank you so much, Ruby, for giving us and starting the conversation with the very insightful pointers. I hope that our viewers are keeping a note of it. And friends, if you're having any question, regarding the topic, please go ahead and without any hesitation, put them on the comment section, because we are here live for half an hour, and we will make sure that we are going to take up all your questions or your queries so that you get the answer and the clarity. So with that, Ruby, I have this very important question for you. And as this news came up, internet was bombarded with so many thoughts, so many questions and queries. And with that, there was one question that actually, like, I got attracted to, and it was that people were asking that, is this new EAD rule is about actually the security purpose, or is it quietly phasing out work authorization for dependent spouses and AOS applicants? What's your thought on that?
Um, I think it's just to make it more difficult for immigrants, honestly. I think that's the unfortunate truth. I think that the administration's been working really hard to make it extremely difficult from all different angles. There's not like just let's focus on asylum or let's focus on the H-1B. I mean, they were also working on student visa. We talked about that, I think, or I mean, everywhere. Like even national interest waivers are getting harder. There's everywhere. Immigrant asylum laws pretty much disappearing. So I think this is just this current administration's a take on what they're trying to do, unfortunately, and making it difficult. Because honestly, I remember when the 540-day extension came out, I had employers messaging me like, "Is this receipt real? Is this legit? You know, is this awesome?" Because then that's awesome because then that gives an extension to work, and there was no once that came out, which was a great
Yeah.
idea for employers, for business continuity, for the employees, that then they was seamless. Well, okay, USCIS, you're going to take a while. Fine, we don't really care now that you gave us this extension. But to do this is going backwards, and we've been seeing a lot of that under this administration, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ruby, for your answer. And with that, I have my question for you that, now if we are going to look for the uncertainty of the, immigration policies and all, then we are seeing so many ups and downs are coming and going ahead, which is not just creating problems for immigrants, but also, impacting the US economy may impact. We don't know how the future will be, or may impact the workers, the employers, or maybe the US companies. So, is it like, if the EAD automatic extension will end, then companies may avoid or may not, hire the EAD holders, or how they're going to look the EAD holders in upcoming days or the future?
Well, I think that I don't think that this is oh, I'm sorry. This is the other question about the security and phasing out. I think this is going to affect the employers probably in about 6 months. I think this is sort of like I don't want to say ticking time bomb because that sounds pretty negative, but basically it's going to really hit people in about 6 months because the people who had the automatic extension on that day, they still have it, but then the ones who applied after that day that they barely had any notice, this is where it's going to start hurting people.
Mhm.
I do think that yeah, the employers might start avoiding the ones if they can, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I mean, I think we're also going to have a labor shortage. Like we're sort of in a weird place right now because I think we're waiting for if they didn't come out already, we're waiting for the job reports to come out this
Yeah.
week because the government was shut down for like 7 or so weeks. So that was delayed, and we're going to start seeing what's real. But I think what we're going to start seeing is that there's a lot of people disappearing from payrolls and the labor market. We are starting to see more of a cooling of the economy, but I mean we've already started seeing this in the past when an employer sees that a person only has work authorization for a short period of time, they're a little like reticent of like, well, how long is it going to take for you to get an extension? Are you eligible for extension? And if
Mhm.
you've got two people that are equally apparently eligible for the position and one has more of a restriction versus the other one, I think it's just nature to go with the one that seems to have less restriction. So I think this will probably start being more of a bigger issue going forward. But at the same time, with there being, I think, a lot of people disappearing from the payroll and more of a labor shortage. But again, we've got that economic cooling. It's sort of a little hard to tell. I think it's going to be more about that specific um, the industry in which the person's working,
Yeah.
how much demand there is, and how the employer is going to take a look how their what their decision is going to be along those lines.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very well said. All right, Ruby. I think I'm really, getting a lot of insights, and I'm really happy about that. This is a very important conversation. That we are having time to have this, and I think our friends are also enjoying it. And Sid Mohan is also here. Then Venkatesh is also here. Salomate is also here. So let's go with our first question that we got from Venkatesh. So, firstly, hi Venkatesh, and thank you so much for your participation. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, do it right now. Okay, so he's asking a question, Ruby, that what is the chance of H-4 EAD getting soon with H-1B bundle and premium as of current status?
Does he mean the likelihood of a H-4 work authorization being approved if you do an H-1B premium processing?
I think
Or
so. Mhm.
because technically the premium processing is for the H-1B, not the H-4, and it's not technically for the EAD. So I had seen in the past that sometimes the premium processing for the base visa could speed up the dependent visa, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they go hand in hand. So if that's um, but feel free to have a consultation to go into more detail to try to answer that specifically. But I think I understand the question. That it really shouldn't have that much of an impact on it, other than if the H-1B gets approved faster, that can speed things up for the H-4. But at the same time, the EAD doesn't have a premium processing, and it's a separate matter.
All right, all right. Okay, thank you, Ruby, for taking up this question. And Venkatesh, I hope you got your answer. And in case if you're having any doubt, because the question is little confusing, so I hope you got Ruby's point. In case if you're having any other follow-up question, then please put them on the comment section, and we will definitely take it. Selomate is here. Selomate is asking, what are your top recommendations for Indian professionals to stay compliant and legally protected in 2025, especially those on dependent or student visa?
Uh, well, in things I don't normally say, except for when certain people are the president, I would say consider other countries potentially at the time for than the US at the moment, if you want to have more options. We still have in theory about, 3 more years of this administration, depending how things go. And it doesn't seem like anything is getting very. The only thing pro-immigration, pro-immigrant that seems to happen is when there's federal lawsuits or public outcry, and it's just there's just so much change. So I guess in summary, I would say if you should maybe consider other countries, nomad visas, residency, other options, for the hopefully just temporarily, to see what your options are, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of change. We've had a lot the last 10 months, and I can only imagine what we're going to see the next 3 years. So,
Absolutely. I think everybody is, very curious and very eager, and everybody's crossing their fingers. They don't know what's going to happen next day, and things are
yeah,
like coming so suddenly. But
there's
all right, yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
no. I mean, I think the change part. It's I I've got immigration, and I do a lot of in legal tech and AI, and they're both changing so fast that it's like the human adaptability, the adaptability quotient doesn't seem. It seems like it's very challenged at this moment on both fronts, the both areas that I work a lot closely with. So it does take a lot to remember what you can control, and I think that's what we have to lean into. It's a lot of things that I think that's helping people cope through this time of change is leaning into some of the things we learned during the pandemic. What can we control? What we cannot control, and going back with that lens to evaluating. I mean, the U.S. is not the only place to go. And this is very hard for me to say this as a U.S. immigration attorney, but I build your resume, build your life, your CV, your experience. Maybe go somewhere else temporarily, and then hopefully things will get better. And you'll we don't really understand everything that's happening, but try to make the most out of it. Unfortunately, that's probably what I have to say.
But I really appreciate you, Ruby, for being honest and putting up very clear points in front of our viewers. So I think that's really appreciating. And friends, you can also get in touch with our attorney, Ruby L. Pars. You just have to visit the link that will be visible on the screen, and in that, you'll get her contact details, you'll get her website, and also the email ID. So, in case if you want to get directly in touch with her, you will get to know by visiting this link. And with that, you can ask your query, you can share your documents, or either your case study as well. Okay, so let's go ahead, Ruby, with Imran, as Imran has also posted a question. He's saying for F1 STEM OPT holders, what proactive steps can they take to ensure uninterrupted work authorization amid these changes?
I mean, at the most basic, which is sort of what you probably already know, is just apply at the earliest that you possibly can, that you're planning, you know what you're going to you need. The work authorization, and I think that you don't do things last minute, and try to file as early as you're eligible. I don't really know what other thing to tell you other than to have a backup plan in case something doesn't work out. That's probably the only other proactive tip I could say.
Okay, all right. Let's move ahead with Sid. And Sid is asking, when on concurrent H-1B, what is the minimum hours to work for a second employer? And how should concurrent H-1B hours be specified in petition if the hours vary per week from 1 to 10 hours depending upon employer?
Oh, well, that's a very specific question. Okay, so let's see. I I would have to double check that, right? Specifically for that. Let's see. What the concurrent H1 is the minimum hours to work for the second employer, and I think if you would just want to reach out for a consultation, I can clarify that. Maybe we could go to another question, and I can try to see if
Sure.
I can get the answer to that one. But
Mhm.
yeah, thanks for asking.
All right, no problem. Thank you, Ruby, and thank you, Sid, also for participating in the conversation. Okay, so Sid has four questions. Sid, we can take. I don't know whether we'll be able to take all, but let's see this one. H-1B approved in 2023 and renewal in September 2026. Planning to have first time stamping in India in March 26. Given this, how long will the visa be valid for, and will I have to get a new stamp after renewal? Yes, Ruby.
March.
Mhm.
So you're gonna go to India to do the renewal. I mean, you're gonna get it stamped. How long? Um, well, there's a lot of changes happening in the consulate. There's a lot of changes happening with H-1Bs. Um, you first had it in 23. It'll be 3 years. They could give you the 2 years. So I think that and you mean getting a new stamp after renewal? You mean like when you travel again? Yes, but I think what you'll probably give either the probably around 2 years potentially on the visa when you go in March 26. Um,
Mhm.
there could be a lot of changes between now and then with the consulate, so they might come up with some change in the policy. So I think it's sort of hard to say exactly, but that's probably my estimate right now. And then back to your this is it's the same one with a lot of detailed questions, right? So there isn't a minimum number of hours for the second H-1B employer as long as the employer files the concurrent H-1B with the correct details. But I think that that's just a very specific question, Sid. So I hope you have an immigration attorney or you're going to get one. And maybe you're just asking to have a second opinion, which is very understandable if your company already has the employer the immigration support. So but this is I think when we start getting to these nitty gritty questions where we have to have a consultation because we need to double check a lot of different factors just to be safe.
Absolutely. I think every case is very different from each other, and even the minute details, minute difference, makes a huge impact. So I think, Sid, that's what Ruby meant to be. And in case we have already shared the contact link of her, you can visit that link and you can share your details over there. And that will be little specific, and she might help you in a better way. Yeah, this is the link. Okay, so Ruby, Venkatesh has come up with some more details, and let me read out what he's saying. He's
Okay.
saying earlier H1 plus H4 plus H4 EAD bundled together under premium processing used to get approved under
Well,
15 days. Okay, but
yeah.
now
Right.
that
Yeah.
but now that law is not mandatory, but still few centers are approving faster, but some are delaying. This is what he said.
Yeah, I understand, and I think that's the thing. We had seen it that the dependent visa and maybe subsequent work authorization, I get what you're saying, were sped up, like, because it was attached to the premium processing. I get what you're saying, but, like, it doesn't mean that just because it's been done that way, that's gonna happen going forward, and we're in new territory, so will it happen? Will it not? I don't know. I mean, if you take the ethos of the administration towards this process, like, they probably will make it more difficult. So, and probably won't do it. But I would hope that they would. Yeah, great. But you're right. The other thing that's going on is they're moving things around. The different service centers, they're changing the instructions last minute. Like, we as attorneys, we're having to double check the instructions like each time we submit it, which address to send it to, which version of the application, because they're changing things last minute. So, yes, in a prior world, this would happen. Will it happen in the future? I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows. So fingers crossed it will. That we're sort of like in the space where we're having to get a little more comfortable with the unknown, and I know that's very hard to hear. I know it sounds a little flippant, but I'm just telling you, like, this is sort of like how we're having to live right now. We don't There's a lot of things we don't have control over. So I hope that it will, but things are changing minute to minute, and there's no guarantee that that's the way they're going to do it going forward.
That's right. And that's how it is happening right now. 2025 has so much bumpy rides, every day waking up with some other news. So I think that's how Venkatesh, thanks for your participation. And it feels really great to share all these information, with us in the group. And I think that's all, Ruby. We have, discussed a lot of questions, and our viewers have also participated. So I think it's almost time. And before leaving, any message, any suggestion, or any pointers, that you would like to share with our viewers, how they're going to prepare themselves or how they should handle this situation, then please go ahead and, share the very important advice with us.
Yeah, I thank you so much for the opportunity. I think one of the key points is to be following a few thought leaders in this space, a few immigration attorneys, this talk show, some other news sources that you can trust, and making sure that you know that there is a lot of change. It's unfortunate if so much of your life is depending on these things, which many people are, and what making plans. But I think the point, if you took away anything, is that we are all having to get more comfortable with the unknown. We're also, I think the other thing is to decide what you can control, and maybe having backup plans so that if you need to pivot, that you can. I do think that we also have seen a change, a little bit of a change in the sentiment with some of the elections that happened. It wasn't the midterms, but it was sort of, I think, of a tell of what's to come. And we've been seeing a lot of movement now that the government's reopened, a lot more activity, a lot of conversations that couldn't be had because the government was shut down, and that it's a flurry of conversations. And I think we're going to continue to see where things are going to shape up going forward. So I think we just all have to stay positive, and do the best we can, and have backup plans as well. So, but I would love to be a resource for all of those who you can reach us out at Powers Law Group. We have consults over phone, Zoom, in person, anywhere. U.S. immigration. We can help individuals anywhere in the world on U.S. immigration matters. But Sam, thank you, and team, thanks for having me again. And I know we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's our honor, Ruby, to have show with you. And we are really grateful that you come up and take up so much time from your busy schedule and share these very important insights with our viewers. It's always a pleasure having you. And thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much. All right. All right, friends. So that's all for today's webinar, as this was very important and a very hot topic. I hope you guys are happy with the answers and happy with the questions, whatever we have asked and prepared. In case if you're having any other doubt or any other confusion, then please put them on the comment section. After the live stream ends, then also me and my team will connect with you and provide the answers. So, lastly, we got this conclusion that if you are ready, preparing for the best, then also be ready for the worst, because anything can happen at any time. And make sure to always have a backup plan. Be ready with plan B. That is the thought of the day. With that, friends, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. We're live on YouTube and available on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and also on Instagram as well. That's all for today's update. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck, everybody. Start preparing yourself and be positive, be hopeful, and keep watching Immigration Talk Show.